Okay, so can everybody hear me? Good deal. All right, so yeah, my talk today is going to be on how to get started in cybersecurity. This is really based on my journey to professional employment in cybersecurity over the past 7 to 8 years. So who am I? I'm Victoria, and I'm here today, of course, to talk to you about some resources that you can use to help upskill yourself, maybe if you're transitioning or if you're a student. Maybe you're studying something that's not computer related at all, but you're finding that, hey, I'm really interested in the cyber stuff, and there's some ways, low cost, that you can start to dip your toes in. So I'm currently a cybersecurity engineer, and more on that later. I do mentor others, mostly college students in Atlanta, and try to be the person that I wish I knew when I was getting started. So goals of this talk, before we dive in, I want to outline what this talk is, and most importantly, what it is not. So it's not a step-by-step guide or magic formula to achieving employment in the cybersecurity industry. So I won't be saying if you take this course and pass a cert and apply to X amount of jobs, hack such and such, that you will definitely get a job in cyber. It is a way to share tactics, techniques, information that I've leveraged to professionally enter working in cybersecurity. And we'll cover how and why you can choose your own adventure in cybersecurity. Even if you're struggling to find time, money, resources, and how to source your learning journey, there are a lot of options out there. So we'll address the 4 main difficulties of entering and transitioning to cybersecurity. So 1, where do you even begin to learn new things in cybersecurity or stay on top of trends? When do you start building your network? And where you can meet people working in the information security industry. Number 3, how can you overcome lack of opportunity when attempting to enter the field? And how do you make the most of the few dollars and hours that you have? Obviously, I want to empower you to own your own skills, regardless of where you work over time. And you might even end up working in cybersecurity with a company that has a very small budget. So again, you might need to roll your own or find resources on your own. Okay, so how I got started. It wouldn't really be fair if I got up here and told you how to get started if I didn't tell you how I got started. So I'm currently a cybersecurity engineer for a company out of Atlanta. They're into paper manufacturing. And working as a cyber engineer is rather new development for me. I have been in my role for just over a year now, and my journey to official employment has played out over the previous 8 years since I began my degree, first CS in 2014, and finally ending upon graduation for Georgia Tech in 2021. So if nothing, I'm tenacious. Real quick, what's the GERD word? Anybody here from tech? No, okay. No. Let's do some basic math. 2021 minus 2014, 7 years in undergrad. What the heck was I doing, right? Well, 1, desperately trying to finish my degree. And, oops, next slide, sorry about that. As you can see, I had wildly varying levels of success. My lowest GPA was a 1.0, and my highest first semester was a 4. I was either killing it or I wasn't. I had to retake a couple classes when I transferred, and I also worked throughout my time in undergrad. I didn't really start out college with tuition funds, and so I kind of had to make it as I went along. So why computer science? My primary education, K through 12, was non-traditional, and I didn't have any guidance counselors saying, hey, what are you interested? Check out these different degree programs or direct me towards IT, security, so that I could start working without a degree by taking certifications. Sorry. So at the time, cybersecurity degrees, they weren't really a thing, and I'm sure there were probably a few out there. I didn't find them at the time, or they weren't attainable. So maybe at private institutions, but public universities still had traditional CS degrees for the most part, so that's what I went with. And literally coming from one stoplight town and very minimal guidance on what I should do with my life, maybe besides entering the military, I figured, what the hell, a degree program that promises me they'll teach me everything I need to know about computers. Sounds pretty good, sign me up. In the end, working throughout my degree and choosing roles carefully, or just taking whatever was offered sometimes, whether in IT, web development, or cybersecurity, it helped increase my proximity to real-world issues of security concern. And I was able to establish a foundation outside of my coursework that helped me build my staircase into cybersecurity. So, okay, let's get into it. I'd like to dispel some myths based on my time in the industry or proximity to it. And to my knowledge, there's no regulation in the US that mandates whether private or publicly traded companies should verify your level of expertise in order to fill any particular cybersecurity or affiliated tech roles. And just to be clear, this is for non-DoD and non-federal employment. If you know otherwise, I am open to correction on this. Let's have a chat. But otherwise, that does leave you with a lot of freedom about how you obtain your skill set, and if you have certifications, or if you don't, you can still work in the industry. So at the end of the day, the US company gets to choose pretty freely who they hire and how skilled they are. And better yet, you don't need to rely on companies. You can contribute to security tools and open source projects as long as you know what you're doing and your code works. More on this later. Okay, information. If you're me 8 years ago, or somewhere from 0 to full send, this is what you desperately need. So don't forget, search engines, DuckDuckGo, Google, and other people are going to be your best bet when it comes to acquiring information you can action on and find the doors you need to open. So ask questions, don't hold back. If you're curious about the day-to-day of someone's role, then make sure to ask them. That way you can better determine if it's something you might want to do. Even if it means cold messaging someone or just walking up to someone and saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, I'd like to talk to you more. So let's get some more information about where you plan on going, how you plan to get there, and what you plan on doing while you're there. Where do we learn new things? QR code. So I've got a resource list, and this takes you to, goodness gracious, GitHub. I have a list on GitHub. It's all in Markdown. Nothing malicious. If you want, you can go to jellyfish.io, my labs tab, and then you can go to cybersecurity resources once you're at the GitHub. So if you don't want to scan it, I totally get it. But I'm not doing anything with any information if you do scan it. Okay, so you can follow along there. So if you're coming from a different career or non-tech background, you might want to retool your skill set and learn new technologies. And there are non-technical roles in cyber, but a little extra technical knowledge never hurt anyone, and it will really help you stand out and excel. And obviously, we need cost-effective and fun ways that we can do this. Okay. Podcasts and books. Listen to podcasts. They're usually free. They have subscription tiers if you really want to opt out of the ads, or if you want to support the show. But different shows usually have a focus or a theme. So historical accounting, current events, and commentary on why or how security is implemented and how the industry is doing. You can listen while you're commuting, you're doing chores. It's a great way to build out understanding of what's happening or what has happened historically online and how things are generally going in cyberland. So there are a ton of podcasts out there. I have a huge list. I think it's almost exhaustive. But if you have more to add, shoot me an email, and I'll put it on there. When I was first trying to gain some perspective on the InfoSec community, podcasts were really my go-to. I also didn't have a lot of time working and going to school. I did want to learn more things, but just being able to sit down and find that time, I would just listen on the go when I was on the bus, commuting, etc. Lately, I've been listening to Mode of Mischief by Kevin Korneluk, and a longtime favorite of mine for current events is Security Now by This Week in Tech. Books. You can read or listen to books. Audiobooks obviously are a thing, so you don't have to, I don't know. I've got some options on how you can find them cost effectively. There's so many good ones. Again, detailed historical accounts, true crime events that have been carried out online. So this is a good way to invest in if you're not very technical yet, you can still learn a lot of information from reading books or just listening and absorbing this information. They're a goldmine of information. They're great at getting you motivated and interested in all the nuances of what's happened online in the last 30 or so years, 30, 40. I have a section in the resource list where to get these books secondhand. Ask, maybe some of your friends might have copies. I loan my books out continually to people. So you never know. Loaners, secondhand. There's an app for almost every secondhand shop now, eBay, Goodwill, lots of different ways. Your local bookshop. Yeah, definitely multiple ways of getting your hands on some of these books. Training platforms. So this is going to provide you with training you need to build your technical skill set. And the interactive online platforms in existence today, they're super cool. They're gamified, pretty affordable, accessible from anywhere with an internet connection. And ones like TryHack, MeHack the Box, Let's Defend are, I think, well priced for the individual and good value for what they're offering. They have learning paths, so you can start from pure beginner and work towards being more advanced. And the video platforms, Udemy, Cyber, Coursera have good course offerings as well, less so for technical courses and more so for classes on certifications, I found. But again, use whatever works for you. You might prefer a video platform versus at first versus the more technical hands-on. They also offer the limited free version, so try them out, make sure it works for you before deciding to continue paying for it. Certification study. So while certifications are really good to have, they help demonstrate your intent and ability to hold knowledge in a specific area and to a certain level. And the standards they attempt to set and the outlines they provide for managing security programs have become essential. They are generally not cheap to obtain though, and actually taking an exam can be quite cost prohibitive. But that doesn't mean you can't affordably study for them. The study guides for most exams are usually not too expensive. Again, use the where to get these books sections to find them for cheap or to get them on loan from a library. And okay, so that's pretty much all I've got for resources. When do you start building your network and how to meet people in the information security industry? So if you're not already employed in cyber or the tech sector, then odds are you don't know a whole bunch of people working in cybersecurity. So now the best time to start building your personal network and making real friends in this industry is now. Build the network before you need it. And through doing so, you will not only learn how to support others and be supported. So where do we find these elusive, mythical cybersecurity fairies? Well, online is the first place you should definitely look. And I mean, LinkedIn, Twitter, Discord, Mastodon. LinkedIn is personally my favorite. It's a great place to showcase your resume, your background. You don't have to post, but it's a good place to hang out, listen to what others are saying. It's almost exclusively your professional work-related content, and you can build out your profile to reflect your work experience and be noticed by recruiters with some of the neat features like open to work banners. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Partake at your own risk with Twitter. There used to be a lot of InfoSec people there. There still is to some extent. Quite a few people still there commenting on things, but Twitter has always been a mixed bag of professional, personal posting. That coupled with a format, so many words on all manner of topics, all at once interface. I can only take it in small doses myself. Josh Fulmer, a technical recruiter with Dragos, made a post about on his Substack about different accounts for cybersecurity folks that would be good follows. So you can check that out. Also, that is on my resource list. So Discord is a great platform for meeting people with all with like a specific purpose in mind. So for example, this conference, they've got a Discord. It's been a great place. They dealt with the sign hacking. It was really awesome. Usually makerspaces, DEF CON groups, etc. CTFs, they all have Discord. So it's a great place to meet other people, talk about one central thing. If you haven't joined yet, do that. I recently refired mine back up since college, and it's been amazing. So I'm linked up for all the DEF CON groups. That really helped me prepare for going to DEF CON this year. DC groups in my area and conferences I've been attending, and CTFs. So again, a great place. Mastodon, I am not super familiar with this platform. I think it's rather new. Reminds me of the VBS system, which is probably an inaccurate comparison. I do want to explore it. I just haven't had the time. It's on the eventual list for sure. But if you are on Mastodon, then be sure to check out the infosec.exchange to network security professionals. That's one of the main servers I've seen recommended. So, conferences. Go to cybersecurity conferences. Obviously, you're already here, so that's great. But there are other ones out there that you can also attend. Network in real life. Most of the smaller regional conferences, like B-Side series, are very low cost, even free sometimes, or discounted. So if you're a student, like at JawnCon, this is free. There's nothing better than networking in person. As much as I use and enjoy social media, the internet to stay in touch, nothing beats spur-of-the-moment conversations. You get volumes more data about a person, and your mind, whether you realize it or not, is taking in every detail, processing it, helping you decide whether you can really trust someone and they can trust you. And it helps you solidify or strengthen your connections. So again, I have an improved breakdown of the different backing for conferences in the resource list. Be sure to check it out. Meetups. A lot of conferences and organizations, such as OWASP or DEF CON, facilitate smaller regional meetups throughout the year where they do similar conference-like things, give talks, CTFs. Maybe they're doing lockpicking practice while they do a talk, and there's a CTF running all at the same time. It's like a little mini conference, and it's a great place to meet people in your area. If you're looking for jobs, again, it's a great place to, for people to be like, hey, we have an opening here. Maybe you should apply. I can refer you. Okay, so how to overcome lack of opportunity. As a student with no prior professional working experience, it's really difficult to be taken seriously when looking for your first job. I'm sure some of you have heard the common complaint, well, you know, students are great, but they lack real-world experience. And this is compounded if you don't have great grades, good connections, or come from an environment that afforded you top learning opportunities. So on top of generally gaining more knowledge and technical skills, you should also utilize tools like Cybersecurity to get the lay of the land, so to speak, and take stock of the current job market in your area or the US at large. Cybersecurity is a new project funded by the Department of Commerce, whose goal is to provide detailed, actionable data about supply and demand in the cybersecurity job market. They work in collaboration with CompTIA, the Computing Technology Industry Association, and NIST, the NICE program, which is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and Lightcast to coordinate mapping, supply of jobs, and demand in the field based off of certification numbers and other factors for different career pathways. So on their website, they explain their methodology and their how-to, so if you have questions, definitely check it out. Again, it's all linked up in the resources. They have great interactive tools, such as a heat map for total job openings by state that you can further refine based on your metro area. And they outline different career pathways, so you can learn what roles are available, number of job openings, and average salary for each. Finally, they list cybersecurity education and training providers throughout the US and a few locations offshore. So if you're looking for more ways to learn, they've got a listing for you. You can also contribute to open source. One way to find freelance opportunities is through the Linux Foundation, and even without being formally employed in InfoSec or cybersecurity, if you know what you're doing, you can contribute to open source projects, and the Linux Foundation features a bunch on their page. The link is in the resources, but once you're on Linux Foundation, if you just scroll down on the projects page, you'll see the project logos, and there's a drop down so you can further refine your search by privacy and security. Another way you can contribute is to create an InfoSec blog or a cybersecurity blog. And you can put write-ups there, you can put your opinions there, you can put whatever you want there. If you don't take my word for it, take Graham Helton's. He has 2 blog posts on this, again, in the resources, or it's linked, why you should create an InfoSec and IT blog and how to create a blog. He's got a how-to do it with Markdown, Hugo, and AWS. Okay, yes, challenge yourself. Once you know about opportunities, you have to take advantage of them. Set goals, then break it down into measurable and achievable actions, and don't forget, definitely challenge yourself. So sometimes it's really good to just jump into things, see if you can work your way through it. For example, I was at B-Sides Augusta earlier this month. They had an OT CTF by IntelliGenesis, and on the day of, I was on the fence about trying it. I was just worried, like I didn't want to waste my time sitting there for an hour not figuring anything out. But I was hanging out with some friends from DC 404, the local DC meetup in Atlanta, and they mentioned they were going to give it a shot, so I figured, like, what the hell, I'm here. I have nothing to lose. It was free. They still had seats. So I got in the room like 5 minutes late. I realized I had missed part of the instructions, and I almost walked out, but I stayed. I got started, and what do you know? I finished the whole thing. I did have to ask for help on two of the 9 flags, but other than that, it was a really chill learning experience, and it was a moment of personal growth, just challenging myself. All right, find your focus. Once you pick a training platform or a video course or identify a skill you want to learn, then set aside some time to focus on completing it before you refocus on another one. I have problems with this. I love to just like pick a whole bunch of things and get started, and then it gets to a point I forget about one. I want to learn this whole other thing, and it just ends up all over the place. So find your focus and focus on your passion. Once you pick a training platform, a video course, or you identify a skill you want to learn, then set aside time to focus on completing it before you refocus on another one. This might sound obtuse, but I have a problem with this. And now that I'm not exactly a broke student, I want to supply myself with all the learning materials I couldn't previously afford. I'd love to spend all my time with it, but again, it's not realistic, so continually take time to reflect on what you need and adjust your expectations with reality, and that will help. Okay, so lastly, slide. Yes, parting thoughts. Don't force things, failure happens, and we need to learn to be okay with it. We need to learn things from the times that we fail. In 2020, my last year of college, leading up to graduation and post-graduation, the job market was pretty much in shreds. COVID had completely flipped the tables on everyone, especially college grads, and almost everyone I knew graduating had their job offers rescinded, myself included. And I had worked so hard to prepare my entry to cybersecurity for the last 7 years. I had secured a role in Nova a year and a half before I was set to graduate with a great salary. Losing that job was pretty devastating, and it just wasn't meant to be part of my story. I had to come to terms with that. I spent about 2 more years working in IT and system administration, all the while continuing to work on my cybersecurity skill set, and it did eventually pay off. Sometimes the best laid plans will fail you, and that's okay. There's always something you can learn from it, and always there's an alternative path to be taken. So yes, that's it. Thank you for being here today. Q&A, and I have like giveaways if you have questions. So.
Cool. We have about a little under 10 minutes for questions. Please use the microphone up front if you're going to ask a question so that everybody can hear you. Thanks.
Thanks for your talk. Can you speak a little bit about how you experienced mentorship in this process? Was it a process of working with senior people or working in groups, or was there a benefit towards one aspect or another? One thing I've seen with some colleagues of mine is as they're starting, they can really get a kickstart if they can spend some time someone a few years ahead of them on the job and kind of see almost like an internship program, either officially or unofficially. I was just curious if you had some experience with that.
Yes. Cybersecurity internships were great for me, and even my startup internship in general, like learning, obviously, how to be in a real work environment, going to work 9 to 5, all that good stuff. I never really had a full-time mentor, and it was more so like, again, reaching out, having individualized one-off conversations with people, asking them, my salient questions when I had them, and a lot of actually peer-to-peer mentorship, like people at my school encouraging me. So mentorship was definitely important to me. And again, I didn't have like a full-time mentor, maybe something I should have looked into. But again, like when you're really busy, it's just you get what you can. And at the end of the day, it can be quite difficult to schedule talks with people on a regular basis and keep that up. So yeah, cybersecurity internships, my first one, not so great. They kind of stuck me in like a cubicle and just left me there for the 3 months. And my second internship was really great. There was a senior engineer there. I was a control systems OT cybersecurity internship, and he took it upon himself to just really teach me about the different SCADA OT systems that they had in the lab. And that really, I was able to see a whole new application to cybersecurity for myself, and now that's why I'm driven to go work in OT security as well. So like learning a different platform was like eye-opening. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh wait, do you want a book or do you want, I've got a Raspberry Pi wireless. Okay. Let me make sure. Oh, they're brand new. They still have the stickers on them.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Do you currently like your job as an info security professional?
That's a good one. So, yes and no. It's a really nuanced question. I don't think I was prepared for working in security in an enterprise environment. There are a lot of aspects to it that, again, I just was totally unfamiliar with. I had always worked, my cybersecurity internships, wasn't an enterprise environment. It was a lab. It was very small. And the one before that, I was in an enterprise environment, but I was not directly working on any of the systems. So that being said, it's a whole different ball game than just kind of like doing CTFs on your own, learning on your own, right? Like there's managed security service providers, there's the vendor and customer relationships you got to manage. So some of it's administrative. I don't really enjoy that so much, but when it comes down to actually getting something done at the end of the day, implementing a new security feature, that's the part that I like about it. So yeah, yes and no.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, pie. Yep. Okay. Hey, how's it going?
So as a student myself, I wanted to know when would be, I guess, the best time to start applying for internships?
Now.
In your experience as well.
Yeah. Okay, so are you mid or like beginning or end of your academic?
I would say I would say mid.
Mid? Okay, yeah. Definitely now. So I know sometimes companies don't want to hire freshmen, right? So mid's really the perfect time. Even if you're a freshman, there are some people who are going to be interested in hiring you, maybe for co-ops and not internships where it's like the 4-year program. But definitely like now is a good time. It's never too late. It's never too early, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So go ahead and get out there, start networking. You never know what you might find.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I'll connect with you afterwards. Yeah. Okay, one more question. Or more questions. Yes.
Hi, what do you consider to be a good starting role for entry-level cybersecurity role?
So, I don't know. I want to say like any. Now, CyberSeek they have the advanced and they have the more beginning. But honestly, like any role that you can get your hands on where you're going to be interfacing with, IT and security aspects is a good one. Now, the traditional ones are like SOC analyst. You have different tiers, tier 1 through 3. So those are really good for getting your hands on systems, tracking and finding different indicators of compromise. And then also, if you're working in IT, as you're implementing systems, you can begin to see the security applications or how to implement things securely. You can make things work or you can make them work securely. So IT is also a good way to get into the field. But SOC analyst is, I think, a really popular one. And I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. But yeah, maybe do some more research on that one. You never know what you might find. So there you go. Yes. Okay, well, if you have more questions, I'll be around for the rest of the day. But yeah, thank y'all so much.